Today's episode is sponsored by Raul Rodriguez Law.
Welcome to another Leija Lounge podcast. We're honored today to have Jason Massiatte. Jason is a distinguished leader with extensive experience in strategic planning, revenue growth, and philanthropy. As a president and CEO of Hila'S Heart Children's Cancer Foundation, he leads efforts to support children's, adolescents, and young adults battling cancer, along with their families. Jason, you've also spent a number of years in the business world with Ward North America, and you're a distinguished member of Leadership San Antonio. And besides Dean, I call him Mr. San Antonio. You're probably the next other guy I see out there all the time, man. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I'm excited. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go walk together all the time. Just like, hold on, let me do an introduction real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I had to make sure I do that introduction really, really well. I'd looked at it, of course, from your bio, but man, it's well written.
I try.
Yeah. Really, really good. Well, so tell us a little bit about Hila'S Heart and what it's all about for those that are watching this that don't know about Hila'S Heart. We had a chance, by the way, too. I mean, we've supported Hila'S Heart, Leija Family Foundation. We've had a chance to kind of tour it about a year ago. You kind of brought us in there. And so, but why don't you tell our viewers what Hila'S Heart is all about?
So we are an organization focused on childhood, adolescent, young adult cancer. And it's mainly of filling the gaps. So we think of like what's the social determinants of health? Like how can we help out our hospital partners and these families that are struggling? A lot of them don't have the resources. So childhood cancer is not something that people fund. If you look at company pillars, like that's not the first thing they fund. And normally it's like education, it's financial literacy, or it's homelessness or hunger and security. But we actually do that kind of thing because we help pay for mortgage, rent, utilities, anything the family needs and medical bills. Initially, when we were founded, it was about, giving joy and some kind of excitement for the child or the young adult by providing them a gift. But then we found out really quickly that the families had more pressing needs, which is like my rent needs to be paid. We might get evicted. I have to choose between, a light bill or food on the table. And a lot of these families end up in there's two household income, right? I mean, it's a income with two individuals working, but one has to quit. They've exhausted like their vacation, their sick pay because the child has to be taken to chemo. So they're not afforded those benefits of like EBT or the SNAP benefits. And so they have to literally just figure out how to make ends meet. Outside of that, it's either go to a food bank or a pantry.
It's real world
it's
tough
a real
decisions,
thing.
man,
it
as
really
a family to do that, right?
Yeah, it's tough. And growing up, in the projects, that's Mirasol's course, the west side, to the east side, Wheatley Courts, to ended up in the south side. As a kid on services, I understand what it's like, and these families have a bigger problem because they're trying to survive for their child. So it's extremely important to have organizations like myself be there for them.
How many, how many families are in San Antonio that are going through this or need help?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah. So when we look at when we service a patient or a child, we service the entire family. So it's not just that. So on average, we were averaging, about 100 a year, but now it's doubled, that many families. And I'll give you a statistic in the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, about 1,800 children get diagnosed with cancer. On average, just in the state of Texas, 200 children die. So I stepped into my role in 2024. I officially hit my year in January of this year. And every month we lost a child. So that's just me in our organization. I don't know exact number now, like everybody else that's lost a child for the families that they've touched, right, or served. And that's just the beginning. And so it tells you how big of a need. And statistically in the US, it's on average almost the same as the amount of Texas, and it's 1,800 children die per year in the US. And we're a big part of that. I mean, we are a large state, but in San Antonio, we've become a hub for the hospitals. So we have families from all over, from down south to San Antonio and up north.
I was going to ask you, I mean, how big is the reach of Hila'S Heart? So you just answered. I mean, you guys are all over. You'll take anybody?
Well, and what we do is the partnerships through the hospitals.
Okay.
So we like to have that way. The families are vetted as they come in, although we just recently signed up with United Way 211 team. So we'll help them find a resource, go through the social worker, and then we'll provide that service. Because it has to be HIPAA compliant. We want to protect the information of these families. And we help them not just one time. So we have multiple programs, but unfortunately, the way it works is we have what's called Blessings Way. So they come in, they're diagnosed. It's Survivor's Way. Like we provide like services like nutritional classes and stuff on how to survive, the diagnosis. And we have Heaven's Way. That's the hardest one, which is we lose a child. And so unfortunately, we've actually serviced a family in every program. So even conquering cancer, and to honor Jaime Sanchez's little girl, Jasmine, she had conquered cancer. She had walked the stage right after COVID. We had a celebration where they rang the bell. And about a year ago, she ended up getting cancer, and it came back with a vengeance, and it took her life. So, I highlight the families because it's important to talk about it because they're here in our community. The majority of the families we serve reflects our community, a little over 76% of the families.
Wow, man. So how many people are you currently servicing, working with?
Right now, about 30 to 40. It just depends on what we have going on. So I've partnered up with Alamo City Arts. So they had a Viva Mariachi recently. So then I'll call the families and, hey, we have this event going on. One of our partners has hooked us up. Let's get you out there. So a big part of this is not just the children, but those adolescents and young adults. There's depression that happens. They're sick, their body's tired, they're exhausted. So they need to get out and they need to experience things, although they're immunocompromised at a time. So they have to stay at home. But for when they can, we need to provide them with some kind of event or some kind of adventure, some kind of community feel like it's a lot of these families feel like they don't have anybody. Like there's no reason that they're alone in this fight. So it's important.
Yeah. It's got to be a tough thing being a parent, right? Kind of.
Yeah, no, I 100%. I'm curious, Jason, on like where did this, I guess you call it a calling for you, like how did you navigate this path, and how did you end up at Hila'S Heart?
Ooh, that's a good one. The give back comes from where I came from. There was a point in my life where I was homeless and I was hiding out in friends' closets to have a place to sleep as a child. And actually, y'all know who the Luis Rodriguez is, the president and CEO of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Oh yeah.
His mother took me in high school.
Wow. So
gave me a place to stay. Man, I'm gonna get emotional. But I say that because everybody's got a story. That I don't have the most tragic story or anything like that, but I have a story just like y'all do, right? So it's important to kind of talk about that. And that's one of the reasons that act of kindness kind of gave me like this want to do more and give back. And so when I started kind of getting in the community, first being part of the Hispanic Chamber, it kind of woke me up about like, hey, my voice matters. It's no more of like, hey, just keep your head down and work. When you see something, do something, right? And so although my parents didn't have much, they always tried to, if they saw somebody in need, they would try to give whatever they had, so that's kind of where it kind of led to, my volunteering and then becoming a board member and eventually getting offered the job for this role.
Yeah, that stands out. And you answered my second question because I was thinking, so many of us will see something, right? They'll see, though, there's a problem there, but they'll address it, they'll acknowledge it, but they won't do something about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like you're cut from a different cloth where you see it, you're going to do something about it, and we need more people like you in the city, in the world. But, it's just amazing that, you're so active in this community already, and there's, you're still young and there's still a lot more to do, you know what I mean? So I'm
aging good right now.
Yeah, no, you are.
We were talking about that earlier, is that I don't know who I was talking to at the gym, or we're talking about something, but like kids don't always do what their parents say. They do as what they see their parents do.
That's right.
And you saw your parents doing that, right? Helping out. And
I did. Now,
Yeah.
To dig a little deeper, my parents were heroin addicts. You know, although they were.
oh, I'm sorry. I meant the lady who helped you out.
Oh, Gloria.
Yes.
Oh,
That's right,
yes,
yeah,
Elodia.
yes.
But you know, but I'll still talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So Elodia Rodriguez is her name. They didn't have much, and Luis and I talk about this, and I know he's going to be okay with me saying this. We would eat like bean sandwiches, whatever was there. We would put Parmesan cheese on ranch style beans. We didn't have much, but his family still took me in.
Wow.
Right.
You know, even though they were in need, and there was another mouth to feed. You know, and that was that act of kindness. You know, even with my parents being the way they were, they would still give. They still had kind hearts. They were just lost. You know, that's the way I see it. So when I see others in need and people might turn away, I'm like, that could be our family. I see that as that's our family. And that's one of the reasons it's important, like even in what I do now, to speak to the men in the groups, because a lot of these dads, like when I have a conversation with them, they're like, man, I don't know what to do. They're carrying so much weight. And, you know, in the Latino community, like the machismo side of like, you got to be a man, you got to take care of your family. It's depressing. It can be hard on you, and you can't show your kids and everything else that I'm struggling.
Yeah.
You know, but in today's world, we got to not make it taboo to talk about it, right?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
our kids don't struggle. You know.
Yep.
So do you also work with the parents on that side? I mean, you guys offer them some kind of service, some kind of help, somebody to talk to?
We do. So I recently partnered up with the Center for Healthcare Services.
Okay.
So we just set up our MOU so we can have not just the parents, but the siblings. So the goal is to, what happens unintentionally is when you have a child that's battling cancer, the other children unintentionally get neglected. You know, it's not on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So it's even hard to say because I don't want the families to feel like that's what, but it happens because they're in survival mode and they're just like, we need to do everything we can for this child. And the other kids, some of them are like understand enough that they got to step back a little bit to leave room for them, but they matter, right? All of them matter. So
And they're still not getting something.
yeah,
which
there's still something needs
conversations, love, hugs, or whatever, right? Because, I mean, it's mainly targeted to the child
one
that's
most
sick.
in
Yeah,
need.
yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about that is when you get a diagnosis like that, the parents grieving as soon as they get the diagnosis, you don't know what's going to happen. That's the fear. If you've ever known anybody that's had cancer, we all have, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's where that fear comes in. Imagine if it's a child.
Yeah.
It just it takes away your soul, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's important for us to have that, you know, mental health support, and we're the only ones that have a parent support group for those that have lost a child to cancer. There are other organizations, but it takes 2 months to onboard. You know, if I don't even like to say it, but if someone loses a child to cancer, you need immediate support, right? So with the Center for Healthcare Services said we'll onboard in 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know,
that's
not
amazing.
2 months. Others, there's waiting list. And it's just like, that's not,
Yeah.
it's not the organization's fault. They're great organizations, but there's just not enough support.
Right.
What are some of the biggest fundraisers you guys do? I mean, because obviously, look, this is expensive, right? And you guys got a budget, and you need to offer these great services to people. So, what are some of the fundraising events that you guys do?
Well, other than red carpet,
Yeah.
that was a fun one. But it's
Which, by the way, I mean, you were impressive, man. I think you started, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here, but I think you trained for 7 months or something like that?
I think it was like 18 weeks total, something like that. It was.
You're
it was
definitely
a
the
good
first one in there.
Yeah.
You're definitely the first one to
Yeah.
get started. So it was impressive right away. We're like, all right, this guy means business.
Oh man, in the I think as it led closer to the fight, I was probably about 5 days a week because I was
Yeah.
training with Chris, you know,
Yeah.
and Shimmy's he pushed me.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah, he
Like
did.
he did. I'm like for how young he is, and like when he the discipline that he pushed me, and right before the fight, he's like, I'll be honest, you're the only one that didn't complain when I trained.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's
well,
cool.
I didn't know I could. I
Well,
was like,
that was the thing too about you know Shimmy, but all the trainers that are there was conversations that we had, you know, when y'all weren't in the gym, but we're like it weighed on us too, like the trainers like, man, we got to make sure, you know, this happens, and we're really taking on that that commitment and that
Yeah.
responsibility, you know, and it means a lot to us.
You think you guys have it hard? We have it worse. We have to put up with you guys. And the thing is, we're trying to.
We care.
We're trying to get
care.
the best out of you.
Yeah.
And we don't want anyone to lose, obviously, but
Yeah.
we're trying to get the best out of you. So when you're in that ring, you can say, "Man, I'm at my best right now."
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And so everyone takes it upon them to. We're all responsible for that, for you to be your best.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And you did well.
I saw that, like, even when I would spar, you know, I'd get pointers from all of the coaches, you know, all of the trainers. Well, I'll give credit to, oh my God, Jorge.
Oh,
Jorge.
yeah.
He doesn't get in the ring all the time, but
Yeah.
he can hit.
Yeah, he sure can.
He can hit. So it actually, I enjoyed sparring with him because
Yeah.
I felt like it was like an even match.
You were one of very few people to get hit and then smile right after that. Like, all right, man, this guy.
I don't think I ever not smiled when I got, oh wait, Chance.
Oh, yeah.
It's like getting hit by a metal pole. in your face.
Yeah, he also has what?
Did you spar with Christian too? 'Cause that's got to be like
Yeah,
this. He's
I
like-
don't think so.
No, with Chance,
Yeah.
Chance always wants to get in the ring, and that was like my second time sparring. And the way I can equate it to is like, you've ever hit a metal pole, that boom. That's
Yeah,
what I
right.
felt like. I was like, oh, okay. It kind of woke me up. I was like, okay, now, that was the first hard punch that I've had. So I was like, I can handle this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's from a trained fighter too. So I'm
Right,
like, I got
right.
this.
And
then-
that was one important thing for us, for every fighter that walked in there, was we want to make sure that you feel everything. So when you walk in for the fight and you're fighting, there's no new feeling. You
Yeah.
know, you felt what it feels like to get hit in the chin, you know, the body, you know, maybe a little low blow here and there, but you know, you've experienced
happened.
everything, you know. Yeah. So
that happened. It was Chris, not Chris, Tony.
oh, Tony,
Tony,
yeah, it
he's like,
happens.
oh, I did it. I was like, let me show
Yeah,
you the video.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was there for
He's like,
that.
oh, okay,
I saw
okay.
that.
But
it was
just
fun.
to
It
let
was
people
fun.
know that you've actually fought in the red carpet brawl, and you were supporting Hila'S heart, and that's what. I don't know if you said that or not. That you were.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, no.
absolutely. So it was an honor to actually get in the ring and do this. The one thing I could say is, like, for what I do, going to train, it was my peace.
Yeah.
Like, it was my getaway. You know,
Right.
getting in the ring and sparring, it was like I felt at home, and it kind of let me kind of take it in. You know, when you need something to release, when you're carrying the weight of the grief that these parents have. Right, I can't imagine what they're feeling, but I can see it. Right,
Yeah.
so you take that home as a
Right.
parent, and even the ones that you're just fighting along, like you know, I was thinking, man, how am I going to take this? Because it's one thing to volunteer, it's another to be in the day-to-day operations where you actually get to learn and get to know the families,
Right.
and then it hits you harder.
Yeah.
You know, so thank y'all for actually inviting me. It actually helped me. You know,
Well,
I
I'm
haven't
glad
been.
to hear
I've been
that.
busy lately, but I know you see me. Like I'll go there when I can.
No, that's great.
Well, you know, you were the first guy to kind of sign up for our Red Carpet Brawl 2. I mean, we saw you training, man. I remember seeing this Jason guy. I don't know how much weight did you lose?
Well, I was like 240 and some change, like, and then I'm at 220 right now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was.
I had dropped down to like under 216, and
Yeah.
then
Wow.
they were like, "Hey, you need to gain weight because the guy's like 230," and I was like, "Oh man,
Man,
got
I just
carb
lost
load."
all this weight. I
Yeah.
gotta
I
get
know.
it
I was
back.
like, so I'm all eating
I'm doing a
carbs
photo
and-
shoot next week.
Yeah.
and then I was all bloated.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
but I still won.
You
Yeah,
still
you
won.
still did, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you put on a really good show, and you hammed it up. You sold a lot of tables. You had a lot of support out there.
A lot of support. A lot of support.
Yeah, I mean, you know, during this interview, we're going to show some of that B-roll too, so people can kind of see you walking down to the ring. What was that experience like? I mean, seriously, it's one of the things we want to talk about is because you know we're out there visiting with different people, and we're trying to find some folks that want to participate in Red Carpet Brawl 3 next January. But you know, you've never done anything like this before. And so what motivated you to kind of do it? And then what was that experience like, you know, right before you're in the back.
Yeah.
And right before you're about to walk out with your song. So I want, if you can kind of take us back to that a little bit.
Okay. Well, the inspiration is the work that I do.
Yeah.
So there was a little girl by the name of Stella
Okay.
that was there, and I actually dedicated that match to her. And normally she gets tired after a few hours, but her dad, Victor, I was like, after the match, he's like, man, she was cheering for you the
Wow.
whole time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have a picture of, you know, hugging her right after the match. And and that alone like just made it worth everything.
Absolutely.
You know, but leading up to it, so as I'm coming in the back and they do the wraps on my hands and stuff, I was like, man, I'm getting in it, you know. And I got interviewed by Gabe.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, hey, so what's your strategy? I was like, to win. I was like, that's the only strategy you gotta have, man. I got a mission to do.
Right.
And the other part of it is like, I wanted to show the families, like, I got skin in the game. Like, I'm literally getting in the ring to put myself in there to show you that I care. You know, like, I'm gonna do this for you.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was walking up and the music plays, I went into the zone. If you notice my face, I look pissed. That's probably the only time I wasn't smiling. Like when I spar, when I'm sparring, I'll smile, but I was pissed. Like I just needed to get in that moment, you know. Yeah. And it took me there. And as I'm walking down, I actually was thinking about my father.
Wow.
So when we were kids, he would sit there and he's like, all right, come on, hit me in the face. And I'm like, what? I was like, no, Dad. They know me. Hit me in the face. You need to learn. And I was like, but I think of that and I laugh about it now because he was just trying to toughen me up. You know, we all come from different places in life and stuff. And for him, that was his way of just teaching us, right? And he was a Golden Gloves in prison. You know, when he was there, and he always talked about it. You know, and I was thinking about him when I was in that ring. You know, like, hey, Dad, you know, I love you. You know.
Wow.
But it's a moment that I'll never forget. It's something that I'll always carry with me.
How many times have you relived that fight or the walk up into the ring? How many times has that gone through your head?
At least once a week. I look at the videos. I'm waiting for the full video to come out, right? Because I want to see.
We're waiting too, Jason.
I got all these choppy camera videos. I'm like, ooh, look, that looks good.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. They're coming, folks.
But no, it's something that just I don't want to ever forget it. You know, I love that feeling again.
And you know when you stop, you know when you're going to stop watching that video? When you have your next fight. Because then you'll watch that fight. It doesn't stop.
Well,
sometimes I still watch my fights from 25 years ago.
There was I can't remember the young man's name. He's a medical student, 26 years old. They put me in the ring to spar with him, 280 pounds. And it was all
Ben. I talked to him today.
So he was, he's like, he comes up to me, he's like, hey, I'm going to be training with you today. I was like, what? I was like, you're like half my age. I'm like, Saturday is the fight. Are y'all sure? And I was like, Shimmy, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, you're gonna get in there, and you're fighting Jew. Right afterwards, I was like, oh man. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. And I was in my head, right? I was like, oh, this is like, I want to get in there. I'm like, he's a big guy. Yeah. And then I think, well, people probably think that about me too, right? But this guy's a big boy. So I get in there and I'm going. He pops me. I'm like, it feels okay. And then I clocked him a good one, and I saw his face. I always look at the people's eyes, and he just went. I was like, I got him. Yeah. I was like, that's it. So then I knew right there. I was like, okay, he's gonna keep charging, but to me, it doesn't bother me when they come at me. Right. So, and for some reason, everybody that does body shots on me, and I'm like, it luckily. Yeah. It doesn't do anything to me. Like, go ahead, and I'm just like pounding you on the side. They bounce back. Yeah. They bounce back. So it was cool, but it was I look back at those videos, Chris and you know Jorge, like I'll pop around and look at those.
Were you recording a lot of your training sessions?
Yeah, I would ask like Shimmy or one of the other trainers
sparring to do sessions.
Yeah, because cool, I like to see like what I'm lacking or what I'm not doing. You know, and my footwork was terrible, especially at first. Like I'm over here crossing my feet, so I had to learn how to shuffle a lot better.
Yeah, see, that's important. I think what you just said is key, man. Because you know, I'm sure there's some people who don't put that much. They're putting time into the training. They're getting ready for their fight. You know, that they're at red carpet Brawl participating in. But you know, to go to the extreme that you did, because you would like. You were there. You took the early class, right?
Oh yeah, I was there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
And sometimes were you the first guy there?
Well, I was there with like the old cats, like Dr. Carlos, Chance, and what's his name? Jesus Christ!
Yeah, they're all there. They're
all the guys.
We call them the OGs.
Yeah. Well, you know, credit to Chance. Like when he found out I was training, he was like he would push me because I had a hard time with the cardio because I got like I have asthma, but it's more like allergy induced.
Right. Okay.
So like I haven't had to use an inhaler for a while, but. Like he was pushing me and he's like, come on. And then there was a few times I beat him. It's only because he pulled the muscle.
He put a hammy on the ring.
Yeah. But after that, like when we would come in, it was normally me, him, and there's one other guy. I can't think of his name. He works at Credit Human.
Okay.
He's a younger guy.
What I was thinking though is there's a statistic, I don't know if you know it and you're keeping it alive, is that everyone that Chance sparred with, especially last year, won. So everyone he sparred with won. So you're keeping it alive. You're keeping it going.
He actually taught me how to do body shots because he's smaller. That allowed me to learn how to hit.
Yeah.
You know, so
it showed.
No, it
worked.
It was good.
Whatever it did, it worked.
The other thing is like the camaraderie there. It's like you're going to your family. It's like they're all my brothers. Right. You know, I go there and everybody knows everybody. Yeah. It's like the cheers, but like in the boxing.
That's what we talk about. That's what we talk about. It's family. You come in.
It really is.
Family.
It really is. Like, and when I don't go, I feel guilty. I'm like, oh man,
I'm gonna let Chance down. I'm letting my guys down. Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt. You know, and that's part of like getting involved. Like that. You know, if I'm gonna tell anybody something, like if you want to feel like you have a community, the Leija gym. Yeah. Like that's where to be at. Yeah.
When you're in an auto accident, you shouldn't be concerned with legal runarounds, just real advice. You deserve an attorney ready to work for you, an attorney that won't back down.
My parents are from the west side of San Antonio, and they taught me the value of hard work and fighting for what is right.
Raul B. Rodriguez and his team care about ensuring you and your family are represented, whether on the road or in the workplace. Raul is real, and Raul won't back down. Call 210-899-0300 to schedule a free consultation.
Well, I mean, you did great. I mean, I really, from start to finish, your training to, you know, your bout inside the ring. I just remember, I was kind of looking at your face when, particularly yours, when you've got this world-class ring announcer introducing you. I mean, this guy's on major fights. And you got this massive setup with the lights and the video, it's about as big as it can get. But just watching your face there, I think, you were pretty darn tuned in, man. You were ready for this thing. Yeah. I don't think it's almost like I don't want to have a letdown, right?
Yeah.
Probably because of the little girls there, your family members, your people are supporting you. You just want to show up.
Well, I felt like there's no option but to win. Yeah. That's really what it is, because I'm representing a community that's not being served enough in our city, which is the families battling cancer. So that, to me, that was a big deal. So like, you'll see me as soon as I'm walking out, and I'm like, is that me? I just get in that zone, and I'm like, I want to do it. And then I got a little angry in there, and you'll probably see it clear when they get the videos out. Like, I pushed him off me because he kind of held my neck. Oh, yeah. He's a nice guy. Yeah, he's really nice guy. Yeah. Edwin, he's a great guy, great cause and everything, great story. Mm-hmm. But in the ring, it's in the ring, right? So I left it in there. When I pushed them, they're like, "Hey, you can't push." I'm like, "Sorry." Well, you're grabbing my neck. He's like, "You're holding me." Yeah. And then I was like, I go, "Come on!" I at that point I was like, this is done.
Right.
So, but it was a good feeling. Like, it was. What happens in the ring stays in the ring. It's all done with
I respect it's just competition. At the time.
It's just competition.
That's it.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy.
So for someone who's kind of watching this and they're on the fence about participating in Red Carpet Brawl, or a business owner, or somebody, one of our local, politicians, your experience, and give your own little take on it, man. Is it an easy thing to do? Was it everything you wanted it to be?
It's actually everything but more. So, all of us go through this thing where we're wondering, can we do something, right? I never thought that I would get an opportunity to do this. And that's one of the reasons I brought my dad up, because like he's, boxing, he loved boxing and stuff. But for those that are like not sure, like pushing your body to a certain limit and thinking, oh, that's all I got. It's that willpower, like, in kind of striving through that. It's what I think I needed for myself, right. Not just for what I do at work, but as a father, as a man, as a community leader. It's just like when those hard times, I equate it to challenges you have, like at work, at home, maybe in your marriage or anything, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this anymore. You can. It's really it's up here and it's right here, right?
Right.
You know, you look at the Rocky movies. I know it's not the same as the actual real fighting, but the reality is like the heart plays a big role in it. You know, when you push yourself, and then when you have a community like y'all's at the gym, it just makes everything so much better. You know, and for people that are not sure, try it. You know, if you make it the first week, you'll make it. So there's a good number of friends that I brought over that are still paying a membership, but they're not coming.
Oh, really?
There's like 3 of them that I think are still paying the monthly membership, but they skipped out after like 2-3 days working out with me. And I'm like, come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
But others that have stayed and they're committed and it feels good and they feel that guilt when they're not there. But that's the thing. It's like, if you can do this, you can do anything. You know, I tell my kids all the time, like, you literally can be or do anything you want to be, you know, or want to do. You just got to put your mind to it, and literally, that's what it was. It's like just pushing through that hard thing.
That's what I admire a lot about the people in the gym. You know, I mean, you have all walks of life that go in there, but you know, there's people that, you know, well-to-do businessmen and women that show up and where they don't need to be there. You know, they have all the excuses in the world not to show up, but they're there. They're putting in the work. And I can only imagine, you know, the lessons that you're learning, and I know this firsthand, but the lessons that you're learning in boxing, you translate 100% to real life too. You know, what does it feel to, you know, when adversity is on you, when you're literally on the ropes, what do? You know, you can fold or you can figure out a way to get off and to keep fighting back, you know. So I'm sure there's moments where you've been able to, again, I do it all the time with my clients where I compare the lesson they're learning in boxing to real life. And I'm sure you've probably experienced those moments as well.
Oh yeah,
you know?
And you know, and I mean, it's one of the reasons I look at the videos. If you equate it to business or just in life, when you failing is not a bad thing.
Right.
It's a learning opportunity. People misunderstand that. Like they miss that and like, oh, I didn't succeed in my goals, whatever it is. If it's a salesperson or if it's somebody that's, you know, or college student that's just working on a grade or a high school student or anything in general, like I didn't get the job or whatever. That's a learning opportunity, and a lot of people miss that. And that's how I saw it at the gym. You know, now I don't cross my legs, right? How do I work around? Just like say when I'm at the ropes, anybody won't get me at the ropes. You'll see that they come and charge me. I won't allow that.
Right.
You know, I learned my lesson.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the kind of thing that you can equate in life, right? You work around it, you learn from it, and you get better. You know, nothing's perfect. No one's perfect, but you can get to a point to be great.
Right. Yeah. That's what I always say. You knock me down 5 times, I get up 6.
That's right.
Yeah. You keep fighting.
Yeah. Well, and you hear that from so many people, man, that it's just a great stress reliever to get in there, and that's why you have a lot of gym members that are, you know, business folks and, you know, from all walks of life. Really, this is their time to get in there and just kind of, you know, relieve their stress. So I know you told me this, but your wife was there. She saw you going through this, and she's somewhat interested in Red Carpet Brawl 3.
She is. So she is a nonprofit leader right now. So at my office, we were servicing one of the families, and there was a young man, and I was asking him, like, is there anything else? He was the older brother to the child we're servicing. Is there anything else that I'm missing that like we're not filling? You know, what else can we do to help? And he said, well, when my brother's in chemo, he's out for like 3 weeks of school, but we can't afford tutoring. Like, we need some help, and he can't go into the school. The homebound teachers, there's not enough staffed in the districts. And so I went home. My wife's been an educator for 10 years, you know, so I talked to her about it. She bawled a little bit, and she's like, you know what? I got it. The next day she figured out a plan. It's called Mobile Education Center for All. Wow. She convinced me to buy a bus. So we bought a bus, gutted it, made it to a mobile classroom, and now she's working on trying to contract with the districts to fill that gap.
Wow.
And so it's either a child through family issues, excessive absences, medical reasons, and she's trying to get TEA certified so they can actually get credit so the students don't fail. You know, and that is her passion. She's an educator. Her father was a professor, also a Holocaust survivor. So she's Polish and Vietnamese.
Wow.
And so that's like a legacy that she's carrying on to educate.
What's the name of the organization again?
Mobile Education Center for All.
All right, man. Check it out if you guys
Yeah.
are into it there.
that's
And
good.
and so just a little bit here too. If people are interested in Mahila's Heart, what's the website?
So it's Hila'S, which is MAHILAS heart.org. And or you can reach out to me, go to their website. I have a public profile, so even in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I get a lot of people reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you want to learn, know, or invest, it's extremely important because these families have a need for sure.
Yeah. Well, I know, from the Leija Family Foundation, we've learned a lot about it, and I know that we're having continuing dialogue on how we can participate a little bit more with Mahila's Heart. Ours is, as you know, the Leija Family Foundation, it's all having to do with mental health. And so, maybe there's a way there that we can kind of continue the partnership with the Centers for Healthcare Services and what you guys are doing. There might be a need, a little fit that we can kind of help out,
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do a joint fundraiser event together. I think it would be good to have community partners because I recently became a Valero community partner.
Okay.
And Carmen Gomez Law Firm, Joe Gomez, they've been
Beautiful people, man. Great
people
people, yeah.
supporting us.
Yep.
And actually, that's who connected me with y'all.
Yeah.
And actually did a match for the donation after the fight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Nice.
it's been amazing to have organizations and individuals like that support us.
Yeah. Yeah. They're I mean, the Gomez.
the Gomez
people
family
are-
is just a great family, and they help so much out.
Yeah.
It helps so much out here in San Antonio and the surrounding areas, but they're just a great family.
great family. They give back
All
a
heart.
lot.
All
heart,
heart.
man.
Very humble,
Yeah.
humble people.
Yeah.
And
Carmen and Joe are
wonderful.
just
Yeah.
top notch in our book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're
Well,
just great people.
I host nutrition. Our nutritional classes are hosted at the Gomez Law Firm.
Oh, wow.
She actually has an outdoor kitchen, and I made sure that she had stoves for us so we can support our families. And that so she's been more than amazing. That's just how wonderful she is.
Yeah. Do you guys accept volunteers also?
We do. So Generations Bank is one of our sponsors. I also have a board member, but a lot of them volunteers from them. Alamo, A&M. My son goes there and he brings about 10 volunteers every time we have an event. We were talking about events
That's
earlier.
awesome.
I do have a signature event. It's called El Día del Niño.
Okay.
So World Children's Day. It's on April 22nd and down in the King William area. A friend of mine just bought a home there and we're going to host an event there and I'll invite everybody.
Oh, man. That'd be
It's open
awesome.
to the public,
Very
so
nice.
it'd be nice for y'all to come out
Yeah,
and kind of see that
definitely.
because you actually came to my very first event.
Yes, I remember that.
And that was my signature event, and it was wonderful because you brought some media, so we need media on this. So,
We'll bring
so
some
it's
media.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, James is always good about medium following him around,
Yeah.
And then Dean, Dean's got his own social media people that follow him around, right? You got your
Yeah,
your
I don't know why,
entourage.
but somehow they do. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys always end up like everywhere on social. You and Jason, both of you guys. I don't know what y'all are doing, but you guys always end up on social media, everywhere.
I don't know why,
It's
but
for a good cause.
it works. It's
Yeah.
always for
Yeah.
a good cause.
Yeah.
I mean, you got two Mr. San Antonios here, guys. I mean, no pun intended. We're quite honored to have you guys, man.
Well, see, that's why it's important to do some kind of joint,
No, definitely.
fundraising.
No, definitely,
it'd
for
be great.
sure.
Or even partnership in writing a grant so we can serve the community in a bigger way.
Yeah.
And
We were talking a lot
yeah.
about that a few weeks ago on how the nonprofit world has changed a lot, especially with a lot of these government cuts that are happening and some companies not knowing whether they want to put money in this group or that other group because of,
It's a challenge. It really is a challenge. And what happened, in my perspective, and this is just my opinion, and I'm new to the nonprofit. Although I volunteer and stuff, being in that role, my first year was more of a fact-finding mission. Like who's going to invest in us, who wants to donate, who actually has pillars that we fit, which is like who's part of the investment side. So when this year happened, I was thinking, okay, we're going to be okay. And then that government shut down. The scare of it, it reopened back up. But not that I get funded by that. But what happened was a lot of the organizations that were funded by government grants were going now to the corporations asking. So what that does is kind of bottlenecks your funding. right? And say, hey, I have to share with the rest, which makes complete sense. They have to share more with the rest of the community. So in having conversations with organizations, partnering up and having partnerships is where it's going to be at.
Right.
So collaborative grants, which there's wonderful organizations, Methodist Health Ministries, the Grahey Foundation, and then you have Luke's, St. Luke's, and then Baptist Foundation. They're all looking towards collaboration. Why is that important? It's because you're having double the impact because it's serving two organizations. So that's kind of where it's looking at. And I'm partnering up with like Magic Theater. We're going to do a collaborative grant, hopefully with y'all, someday, and that way we can help the community in a larger way by getting that investment. And then it brings more awareness to what we're doing for everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, you certainly are educating me a lot on the world of nonprofit.
I'm still learning.
All of us. Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting kind of navigating through those waters. It really is. I mean, for us, we got a couple of fundraisers that we do. Red Carpet Brawl, we do a golf tournament. We talk about doing maybe another event, but it's new for us as well too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is a lowrider show not too long ago. It was at the Expo Center, Freeman Coliseum Expo Center area, and every one of their buildings had cars to show, and then they had cars outside. There was probably a little over 1,000 people there.
Wow!
And they were charging about was it like $40 a ticket?
Wow!
And you think about that, right? And so a friend of mine, actually that volunteers, Alex Hernandez, he was talking to some of his buddies that are they're car club owners. So I met with them, and they said they wanted to do something with us, with my Hila'S. He's like, one of the things is there's a stigma that they automatically think that we're gangsters and we don't give back. He's like, but we're actually a community that fundraises on a regular basis. Wow. We always help each other, and we're a lot larger than most people think. And so he's like, I want to do this not just because it's important, but to change people's perception.
Yeah, right.
So that's what that's my other event outside of, El Día del Niño, is to work on that. And you got to think outside of the box, right? That's one. Two, that's part of our community. It's part of who we are. It started in California, but it's over here. But in the Latino community, there is a stigma, right? And they want to give back. So I want to give them an opportunity to do that. For our families,
who doesn't like a nice lowrider, right?
Oh my God.
It's just like, wow.
I mean, they had like 67 Impalas, like you're talking about old school, like things.
Classic.
It was a beautiful event. A lot of family and children, completely opposite what people's perception are,
Right.
And I loved it. I loved it. So I'm looking forward to partnering up with them and kind of change the people's opinion.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a great event. I mean, Dean, I could see you in a lowrider, man.
Can you?
Yeah, right now.
I can do it. Yeah. They don't have aux cords, right? that's the downfall. But play
no,
some
they
music.
Probably do now.
Now they can tune it up, right? Put some aux cords.
You could throw an old school 8-track.
Yeah.
These guys know what an 8-track is.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. No, that'd be nice.
You'd have to convince Celeste about that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
Well, Jason, we want to thank you for joining us today.
And thank you for everything that you do. That's a lot of stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
man, thank you.
The city needs you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Well, they need y'all too.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with, the mental health aspect of it, it's extremely important.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bring a lot of heart, a lot of passion to what you do, man, and you exude that. Every time we talk, I get charged up just hearing you talk. And just watching you out there in the community. You're right. City needs more people like you. And thanks for stepping up and just doing what you do. And you had this beautiful, wonderful organization that you represent. And just the support that you bring to those families at the most hardest times of their lives, going through something like this, right? So I encourage everybody, if you go to Massiatte'S.org.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And so we'll kind of throw it here on the screen so you guys can see it and just kind of support Jason, support their mission. Thanks for being a part of Red Carpet Brawl.
No, thanks
honestly,
for having
you
me.
made it super exciting, and I know that hopefully we'll see your wife in the ring.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she helped me train. She was popping me in the house all the time.
Yeah.
She's like, I need to get you ready. And I think that's probably why the
Maybe
body
she
shots
liked that
don't
part,
bother
right?
me.
Yeah,
'Cause she would literally just gut
She would
punch
attack
me.
you?
And just, on a regular basis.
without you knowing.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
just do that on a regular basis. I love her to death. She's tough.
She didn't turn out like that guy in dodgeball, throwing wrenches at you.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that bad.
No,
It was,
no.
but her, she hits hard. No, she does hit hard.
Wow. So now, if she starts to fight, you're not going to go around hitting her around the house, right?
No. Disclaimer.
No, yeah, right.
Just kidding, man. Just kidding.
That's a stigma we don't want coming
Yeah,
back.
I know, we
Yeah.
don't want that.
No, you're gonna have to go out there. You're gonna have to help her train too, man.
No, I would have trained right beside her. We just got to figure out sitters for the twins, our 2-year-olds, our babies.
Oh wow, 2-year-olds, man. That's a critical time. 2 years old too. They're everywhere.
And they keep me busy.
Yeah.
I bet they
just on the
do.
go.
What time are they usually kind of crashing out?
Oh, about 7:30.
Okay.
They're out. I mean, they're out. But when I get home, it's like we swap. My mom's like finishing up the meal, and then I'm over here with the girls running around.
Yeah.
And then
It's your time.
Yeah, it's that. And she'll go play tennis and stuff. I'm like, I got it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Got to give her a break.
She needs that break,
Yeah.
man. Moms need they kind of need that release as well too.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that she'll enjoy getting in the ring.
Yeah.
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 Well, we're excited to hopefully she does it. We'd love to see her be part of Red Carpet Brawl 3. Again, Jason, thank you for being here. Thank you all for joining us again for another episode of the Leija Lounge. If you like this, please, indicate that to us. If you got a comment, leave it. Share this episode with people. Go out and check out Jason Massiatte and Hila'S Heart and what they're all about. Great organization. James Dean, man, as always, just happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you guys. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, bro.